Oh my goodness. For goodness sake. Goodness me. Peace, love, joy, kindness. Certainly those are all fruits of the Spirit. And so we'll talk about this week also is goodness. So what does that mean? It just sounds on the surface like just being good. Just be a good boy, a good girl, a kind citizen, a good customer at a busy restaurant after the Sunday morning post-worship brunch rush. Reminded in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, you are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world. You're supposed to go out and let your good works, may others see those good works and give glory to your God in heaven. That may others see your goodness and be led to the glory and goodness of God. Certainly, as we know, as we've been talking in this series, the fruit it's connected to the branch, but it isn't only meant to strengthen the branch. That fruit is meant to be shared so that others can enjoy its nutrients and its juiciness and its refreshness. But I think this week when we talk about goodness, it might just have two meanings for us, kind of like a 2-for-1 I'm sneaking in. Certainly when we are bearing that fruit this week, a fruit of goodness, like all those other things, it's not just being good when times are good, but how can we bear that fruit of goodness when we're abiding with God, connected with God in relationship, when other things around us aren't so good? It's easy to be kind and happy around those that are equally kind and happy to you. It's easy to be patient when you don't really have to be patient for that long. But how can we share that goodness, and more than just being a good person, something deeper than that? I think goodness is so much deeper than just being a nice, happy, kind, good person. Like goodness, maybe even to someone who doesn't quite deserve, or a situation it doesn't quite deem or inspire us to goodness. That second part is maybe the reminder that in bearing fruit is first, Paul is writing to the church in Galatia. It's in the book of Galatians in the New Testament. It's a time when the church is still figuring things out. It's difficult to be a practicing Christian for one primary reason being that the Roman Empire was in charge. They saw followers of the way, what we'll call the church, as undermining and seeing another power besides the Roman Empire. They saw themselves as the only power. And so following Jesus meant undermining the Roman Empire. The emperor didn't like that. Of course, the consequences were pretty severe. And so it was not an easy time. So maybe Paul is encouraging the community, encouraging us to bear these fruits. But maybe when we think about bearing fruit, when it's difficult to think of fruitfulness or growth, we're reminded then when it's hard to be good, it's hard to see goodness in a situation, maybe we're reminded of the good news of bearing fruit to begin with, and that is that the branch is connected to the vine, to the tree. We abide with God. We are connected to God just like the vine abides with the rest of the tree. And Jesus says, if you abide with me like I abide with the Father, like a branch connected to the vine, there you will bear fruit that will last. And maybe this goodness, especially when it's hard and life doesn't feel so good around us, the reminder that that goodness comes from God, our connectedness, our abiding with God, and God abiding with us. Way back in the 23rd Psalm, it's a psalm many of us have heard, even if you've never opened the book of a Bible before. It says, even when I walk through the darkest valley, the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me, you protect me, you comfort me. Even though I sit in the presence of my enemies, you anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely mercy and goodness shall follow me all the days of my life. Now, the 23rd Psalm was not originally written in English, written closer to Hebrew, and so the Hebrew word is certainly mercy and goodness will pursue me all the days of my life. For this week, when we again are mindful of what it looks like to share the fruit of goodness, to bear that goodness in a situation or to a person that doesn't necessarily stir up in us that easy response of goodness, but maybe when we are in a time of ungoodness, or when things aren't good, that we're reminded that indeed to bear fruit we abide with God, and God's goodness continues to pursue us even when we're in the darkest valley. So whether you are enjoying this crazy, muggy summer sun, late August today, or find yourself in that shadowed valley, know this week when we think of goodness, it starts with God's goodness pursuing us.